first one. So let's do you.
Will you guys be activating the microphones? Yeah, they'll take care of it.
No, it works. No, it doesn't work.
Who?
No,
It does.
Ah, it does. Good morning, everybody. My name is Maria Cristina Didero. I'm the curatorial director of 2022 Design Miami. I'm very happy to be here in Basel with you. Thanks for being with us today, this morning. And I'm thrilled to present such a selection of talents for this talk about craftsmanship. So what's important about craftsmanship today and how craftsmanship can interact with progress and what we know about design, all the innovation, technology. What's the meaning of craftsmanship, sorry. And so I'm very excited to have those fantastic example. Nadia Zerunian, designer from Vienna, Aldo Bakker from the Netherlands, and Joy Arrow from the great design disaster. She's born in Beirut, but she lives in Milan. So, Nadia, would you like to start with your slide and tell us about your amazing relationship with those craftsmen all around
First, thank you for having us and Design Miami giving craft such an amazing platform this year. I think that's a fabulous opportunity for all of us. And I'm coming from a family of antique dealers, so I was always raised with these objects that had eternal value, that were transgenerationals, where I was always dragged to museums where I was told about civilizations with the objects that were on exhibition. And a few years ago, I found this book, Neil McGregor, who was the director of the British Museum, who created a book that had quite an impact on me. It was the 100 objects that were describing mankind, more or less. And the object before last that he described our century with, or the last century with actually, was a credit card. And that came quite as a shock to me, you know, and it really triggered this moment of, oh my God, are we going to be known as the generation where crafts was lost? And that was just even more reinforced because I was living in the US. I was raised and born in Austria. I was working a lot with craftsmen, had a tiny brand where I was working with artisans, and then I came back to Austria after 18 years abroad or 17 years abroad, and none of the artisans were still working. There were 2 left of a really huge group of artisans. And then I had this fantasy that somewhere else the world will be still okay. So I would find artisans maybe in Slovakia, maybe in Romania, maybe in Uzbekistan or Moldavia. And everywhere artisans were under huge pressure, they couldn't make a living anymore, they had lost their traditional markets, and that led to a real dying out of craftsmanship and the knowledge of making. And one of the projects, and then we founded an NGO, a group of friends of mine, to really give artisans a platform. And I want to talk about like one specific family that I've met over the years. It's a Roma family in Transylvania. They are traditional coppersmiths. During communism, they were going from village to village and were selling the craft. During communism, they were forced into settlement. And so the whole families were starting to live in the same area, and of course were killing each other with price reductions to find the few people who were still interested in these traditional pots. We used this as a tool of activism also, because Roma have been a minority in Europe for over 1,000 years. And we really wanted to change the perception of these people. And so we were doing collections with them. We had a shop in Bucharest that became the #1 visited shop. We took them everywhere. But what I realized that we didn't manage with this activism tool to really generate any income. And as a consequence of not being able to live off your craft, the younger generation had no more interest to learn the craft. And also the artisans needed to go and do like really menial jobs somewhere else to be able to support the craft for the rest of the year. So people, I always tell the same story, but it was so shocking to me because this artisan that you will see on the next slide is actually the most amazing artisan I have ever met. He's like shaping in free form. Am I too long?
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
just fine.
Is shaping in free form. He owns 2 hammers and he's using as an anvil an old train rack. And he had to go strawberry picking in the summers to be able to afford to be a coppersmith for the end of the year. And that's not one story, there are many stories. We met amazing ceramicists in Uzbekistan that were bricklayers or construction site workers in Russia. I mean, like really like the situation of artisans all around the world is dire. And there's a really interesting number because everybody thinks, okay, she's like this middle-aged, more than middle-aged European designer focusing on craftsmanship now. But it's not a romantic fantasy. It's like it's the second biggest income generator in the global south. And so there's something, so it's dying, the highly skilled work, but it will lead to a total catastrophic outcome if we don't take care of more artisans. So what we did, we combined the artisans always with a small business development tool with a creative that is functioning as the disruptor, and we create collections that are then available to be seen. What is really important for us is to push the boundaries a little bit. I mean, like many of the artisans have now resolved their destiny to produce tourist and souvenir objects. So we are really pushing the boundaries to show what master artisanship could mean. And we also encourage them to build their own brands. So we as a group don't want to stand in front of the artisans. So the artisans, we're seeing ourselves as the support group. We finance their first collections and then help with advice from right and left and communication and also sales.
Communication is not so easy sometimes, you were telling me, no?
Yeah, not so easy. And I mean, like it's also, in the beginning, we have these pilots in 15 countries, and I call us the Gringo Express. Also, Aldo is part of our team. So we are coming and we're going into these exotic countries and as a group, and then we are all standing around the artisan and tell him what to do. So our initiative, who is now calling for 20 more communities to be developed and then 30 more in November, is really localizing the project. So we want local support for the artisans to really energize the groups, but also put responsibility back to them. It's not us to tell them what
Nadia,
to do.
how many projects are you able to do every year with them?
We are super crazy ambitious. I always say I'm a megalomaniac. So we have 15 now. By the end of the year, we will, if I would be able to count, we will have 65, and we will call for 100 projects a year.
Because you actually went yourself to look for them in Transylvania, no? You told me to...
We are going and looking in the most forgotten places.
Villages, small villages.
From village to village, have bizarre experiences. I used to be transfixed by glamour, so everybody who hasn't seen me for 15 years is totally confused about my flat shoes, because I was legendary in my like 12 centimeter stilettos. I gave that up. I got as a Christmas present leather-lined rubber boots.
Which is different.
A little different, but maybe also more
I
appropriate.
guess you feel pretty comfortable now.
Yes.
Yeah, in your new shoes.
In my new shoes, yeah. So I show you my last slide. So it's like helping building the brand and showing this excellence in places like, thank you, Maria Cristina, and the team at Curio.
Thank you, because we also have the pieces by Nadia at the podium exhibition. So thanks for giving a selection to us. Aldo, please.
Hello. Hello, everybody. So I've collected a few slides just to give an impression of the works that I'm working on the recent years, I think. Where craft and the handwork is always, I think I can say, the most important thing in the end. So we do make use of the latest techniques, naming 3D printing or CNC milling, which is fantastic, which is also a craft on itself. It's just a newer kind, but you still need the same care, attention and knowledge, otherwise it goes totally wrong. The image here is a photo taken in Valpolicella at Testi, a fantastic stone company from many generations long. The piece that you see is called B. It's on his side. It's still in the making. This piece is represented by Carpenter's Workshop Gallery. They make it possible for me to work on these works. It's made from onyx, made from one piece. So CNC manufactured, and then what was interesting for me to hear the first time from Pierluigi is that he leaves like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters all around material. He left it there behind. So he's not going with the milling all the way to the end because the machine cannot listen to the material. So he has to stop at a certain point, otherwise it can chip off, it can break. So the last part is all done by hand.
Beautiful.
Which is also my experience. I have a background in craft. I've been making jewelry for many years and later also furniture, and it always came down to sanding. At a certain point I was also really fed up with all the sanding and polishing, and I was very happy that I can also put it aside. And now I'm even missing it. This is the same work, but then in a different technique and material. This is treated with the Japanese urushi lacquer, which is one from the urushi tree, and you can almost directly apply it on the body. We used to make use of wood, but that's not really working anymore, at least not in Europe, as we have our ways of drying the wood in such a fast way to enable to apply it. It also means that you inject a lot of stress in the wood, let's say, so it will crack. So that would be a pity of the lacquer. On the other way around, I also find it a pity to cover up the wood. So we make use again of either CNC or printing, and we make use of a foam, so a not very attractive material which is underneath, and then with the urushi over it, it can last, well, even thousands of years. So this is about conserving something which is underneath. Wonderful material. I take every opportunity to make a next step with this material. It has a very long tradition. So.
And your pieces are actually well known because they bear a certain sensuality. I've read that so many. I couldn't wait the moment to ask you. And then these series, the shapes, the finishing, it's really invites you to touch the object. This is really much about your production.
True, the touching is very important. And by the way, as we just back from Milan, where we had a presentation with Jay Hill, smaller objects in all kinds of materials, and they were all standing on the table for everybody to touch and yes, and also to take your hands to experience the weight, the balance, the texture. very important.
That gives the sense of everything, the piece, the material, the craftsmanship. and everything.
Yes, because that's what it is about. It is.
The experience.
Yes, and I'm also seduced in a way to. It's very appealing to have your design going around in the computer to see it from all sides. But I've also learned that you manipulate yourself, so you're cheating on yourself because you're only looking for the things that you want to see. At least in my case, and so to let it coming out of the computer, to have models and to really see, also to see with your hands. That is really a fundamental step. It's not only nice to have a first result, but it is you need to, besides looking at it with your eyes, you also have to touch it, look with your hands. A piece we see here, I've done for Karakter in Denmark. It's made from tin. It exists out of two parts. A container which is standing on a 0 point, which is only possible with the handle which is holding it. It's called support, and the handle is casted, so it's massive. It has the weight, and then the container is forced. This piece is called Wait, also for Carpenter's Workshop Gallery. And here, this is one step in the many stages of the Urushi production. This is where there's a clayish paste is on top to equalize the surface. Here you see it finished, standing in New York. I had to include this one as it has a very long journey before it was there. It's called Swing. Only a few words, otherwise time is gone. It's a stool actually. It's called Swing because the seating can swing. So when you're on top, you can move forwards and backwards. But also wanted to have the legs to spin around their axis. It all had to be there, and it was a very big challenge to get there. Worked for many parties. Not everybody was able to hold on to the last breath. I was full of confidence, and some of the craftsmen were too. And so together with an engineer and a wood craftsman, we managed to make it in the end. Yeah. This is a photo taken of Newell. It's a vase made through electroforming technique. Great technique. It's a slow technique, just like the Urushi lacquering or the silver plating, what we're going to do together with Nadja. The hammering or the kiln cast glass, all techniques which are very slow. Didn't know that on forehand, but it happens along the way. It says something about my need for control over the object. Here we see the piece when it's coming out of the bath. Again, it's not coming like this out of the bath, so there's a lot of handwork there. It exists out of silver and gold. This is one of the latest ones. This was on show in Milan. It's called Hopstep for J-Hill Standard. Yeah, I knew a little bit in distance of this technique. Never expected to be able to work with it myself. It's terrible, but now I forget the names of the two wonderful artists who made a big career with it. Sebensky and the other one I know, from Czechia. An apprentice of them was found by Anneke from J-Hill, and we approached him, and he made this in America. It's so again a slow way of making things. You have a negative mold where you place in the positive forms, and with a block of glass which you place in the oven, it melts and it finds its way around in the mold, and then you can make an object like this with a different inside from and a different outside. I believe this is the last slide. This is again for Carpenter's Workshop Gallery. It's called Flat Green. Also a long journey, made from aluminum, with a fantastic company called Dima. A lot of respect that they were daring to do this piece. It comes very narrow in the execution, and then it are 3 elements, 4 in total, but 3 from different in form, and they had to find each other in a very clean way. I didn't want to have any trace of the making of technique or anything. Almost no mass, and still it's very solid, it's very stiff. But we had to come up with good solution how to make this happen. They were a great party to collaborate with. That were my slides.
Thank you, Aldo. But your whole production has always been like either one-off or very limited edition, let's say, limited number, I want to say. Yeah.
Mainly so. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Joey from the Great Design Disaster. First of all, tell us why this name of the studio.
Exactly.
Everybody, that's everybody.
So first, I would like to thank you because I think this discussion is like paying tribute to all the artisans. Thanks to them, we have these beautiful pieces at Design Miami and Art Basel.
Thank you that you keep on working with the artisans. That's very important.
So the Great Design Disaster is a project that we launched 2 years ago. I'm very young, but I had this opportunity to start early working in the collectible world, also with the design and art advisors, collectible galleries. So we had this beautiful idea to change a bit the rules of the game. So instead of having the collectors coming to the gallery, like seeing the pieces showed at the galleries, we wanted him to start. We wanted him to start from the essence of the process, which is the atelier. So we wanted to slow down the process and bring him back to the basic of all of this. So what we do is we create a bond between the collector and the artisan. So the process starts with the idea of the collector, and the artisan is the maker. So he does everything to realize the piece, the dream of the collector. And here we see me and the artisans at the atelier. We work with incredible artisans in Italy, north of Italy. That's why I'm based in Milano. We work with all the materials, so we have the metal, the glass, the bronze, practically. This is the Fonderia Battaglia, the famous,
Milan, yes.
exactly,
they do
Milano.
bronze, no?
Exactly, they do bronze, and this is the artisan working in the patina. So it's an old model. It's bringing back the old traditions where the ready-made wasn't made yet. So when the dress and the hat and everything was made, was tailored according to a fit. So this is exactly what we do with the Great Design Disaster. So all the project starts with the taste, with the vision of the collector, and we do everything to make it happen.
Okay, but you didn't tell me so much about the disaster.
Exactly. I wanted to know. So it's a joke behind it because we are agents. When you have the collector, the clients involved in the creation process, you always have disasters. So we try to keep it a great design and avoiding the disasters.
Great. Thank you very much, Joy. And Nadia, what do you think is the future of these artisans and how, like, organization like yours can really, I mean, you're already doing that, like really support and change the economy of, sometimes you change the economy of the whole village. Can you tell us something?
I mean, that's our focus. I think I lived too long in the US to not understand that money rules life, especially if you don't have any, because you are controlled by somebody else. So especially when you work with these marginalized groups, you need to make sure that they have enough income, that they generate enough income to be able to live off their craft. And as I said earlier, I mean, like it's millions of people that are affected. So we will try to become as big as possible. And I don't want to sound so dreamy, but also not so negative. But I think we as we wanted to give consumers the opportunity to buy objects that are made by people that come with a history, that we start to connect the objects to the makers. We want to put the makers in the forefront. And I think that all of that will lead to that preservation of craft. I'm not opposed at all in new technologies, but most artisans are using new technologies when they understand the meaning of it. So I want us to be part of movements towards more value, towards objects, and then as a consequence, towards the makers. So that's how I see it. Maybe it's very hippie, but
that's actually what I wanted to ask Aldo, how you see the combination of traditional craftsmanship and technologies and innovation. They can be developed together in in specifically, or what is your take?
I think, well, the latest ones were not just there. They came slowly from a need, from an interest, and I think they mainly help each other. So I think it's great that that is all there, and that you can go even further. In my case, that the possibility is out there that you can test your thoughts, your ideas in 3D in a very quick way is of course it's great. It's great, but
great opportunity, yes.
Yes, but it is also one aspect of it. If it has a typical language, as every craftsman also has a typical language. But then they are unique. With the printing, it's universal. It's every time you see the same kind of traces of the making process. This is up to everybody what to do about that. But initially, I think it's great. It's all out there.
Enjoy. What's your next project?
So we are planning to have a space in Milano. We don't call it gallery. It will be a space where we are going to have projects. So it's going to happen from a year from now.
Will it be some sort of atelier, some sort of workshop?
We are going to work with a collective or artisans, let's say. Yeah.
Great. So not a gallery, not a workshop, something in between.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you very much. There's any question from our audience? Oh, of course.
No, we've seen beautiful products made by craftsmanship artisans. And do you think the future of craftsmanship will be luxury only, or do you think that craftsmanship can still be accessible to a more volume-produced market?
I mean, I do, but I also think, now I will sound like a real hippie, I think the way my generation has learned to consume is super unhealthy. And I think we have come now to a point where we understand that we can't continue like that. So
there is some sort of idea of slowing down processes in order to make them more human, let's say.
Human, or also like, I mean, like, there's nothing, I keep saying there's nothing fair on a €1 t-shirt. There's nothing fair, you know, I can't even say how many Billy books, every time I moved somewhere I bought a new Billy shelf. You know, like, how insane is that? And so I think change is required, and I think we are moving there. So objects become more precious, and it should be a moment of luxury when you have something that you maybe saved for, or that you appreciate in a different way. You know, like pure consumption. What I also wanted to say, we in this activism project, we brought a community to become the suppliers of a really big retail chain. And we were super proud, and we were always talking about our success story because a whole village made a lot of money. But then at the end of the day, it was 5 people producing 40,000 units in 4 years. And so it is a great achievement. It brought livelihood, but it's completely the reversal of what I envision the world to be, because you make artisans into manual laborers. And that's not the objective of our project, but I see this as a solution for many less skilled artisans. And what I also wanted to say, you become more vulnerable. I'm so sorry. Last thing, you become more vulnerable because if you are going into mass production in craftsmanship, the likelihood that the machine will be able to replace the lower skilled labor because it needs to be quicker, more productive, cheaper, blah, blah, blah. You know, like you take man out of production again, and you need not only man, but also knowledge.
So Nadia, can tradition coexist with the innovation?
Totally. I mean, like we don't sit in caves and knock against stones anymore. You know, like, I mean, like that's what made us thirst for.
Aldo, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think it's very true what you're saying, how you describe it, and it is this same consumerism, the amount of things that we produce, the constant search we have to be fulfilled with something which is also taking away our attention of the things. So that's because we are often thinking in the studio, but also together with, we are speaking about this, but also with the gallery, how can we get it across? How can we let the public know what we are really doing, what it takes? And this question is always there, and it seems to be very hard to answer, as then there has to be a need and there has to be an interest. So with the amount, that is for sure standing in the way. That's not helping. So it would be great if this moment comes that we would produce less.
Yes. Yeah, we produce too much. So I think our time is over. I thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you, Nadia, Aldo, and Joy for your sharing your experience. Thanks a lot to everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being with us.